Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson and Burke Hall with another episode of Veterans in Politics. We have live today Radhika Kunnel, who is an assembly candidate for District Number 2, and that's in the Summerlin area. Ms. Kunnel, how you doing today, ma'am?
How are you? Thank you.
Good.
I'm doing quite well as we can be, given the situation and circumstances.
What's the temperature outside? Like 104 or 6? Or
It feels like 2000, but yeah.
something. You know, I have this. I have a gym by my pool, and you know it's covered, but part of it, when the sun rises and sets, my weights are right there, and I couldn't even pick it up. It was so doggone hot.
It is hot, yeah.
You know, the metal was hot. I mean, I had to go get gloves and then, you know, commence with my workout. But
This reminds me of 2016 summer as well. Like
2016?
Yeah, around this time is when we came back from a trip. And it was so hot. I was in teens. We had an entire month of teens, 100 teens.
Teens.
Yeah, 110, 115,
Oh,
110
and
teens.
the temperature.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Could you give us a bio about yourself and your boundaries for District 2 as well?
So let me go from the District 2. I am representing a candidate for Assembly District 2, which is towards the northwest part of the city. It's actually the downtown.
Do like this with your hands?
I have henna on. So I had a fundraising.
Show the people that.
I had an event, fundraising event, well, kind of campaign event last week. It's called Henna and Sip. So it's essentially a group of us getting on Zoom, and I had someone, an expert that does henna for a living, on the Zoom as well. So she showed us how to work the henna drawing, and that's what I have on my hands. It's on the press.
And it's on the back of your hand too.
Yeah, so it'll last maybe another week and it'll go. It's a temporary tattoo.
Oh, it's not a permanent?
No.
Because I was about to call you gangster. I was like, she's gangster. Anybody that tattoos their hand is gangster.
There's a cultural significance to it. So this is about the time. And I was born and I grew up in India. So in India, this month, which is just before monsoons and the tail end of summer, is when most women put henna on.
Henna on is what it's called.
This is henna.
Henna on.
Yeah. So the idea is it cools you down. India can get really hot. The summers are just as hot as
because you guys got humidity over there.
Right, and then add humidity to it.
Yeah.
So this is about the phase. So this month is when most girls and women just put henna on. So it is a tradition, and then we wanted to make it a fun event.
Do you have any other tattoos going on with your body? I'm just curious now.
Well, that's not on the ballot, so let's just...
on the ballot. So she's saying I got more tattoos than you.
We can't talk about
We can't talk about
You're doing Nancy Reagan, just saying no. All right. Quick question I got for you.
Wait. She's got to finish. She's got to finish her boundaries and her bio.
I gotta finish the boss's question. Let me get through that. Yeah. So it's the downtown Summerlin will be in the heart of my district.
Got it.
And it's the boundaries on the east would be Fort Apache, Rampart, and left is on the west would be Red Rock Country Club. So if you go up straight, like from Red Rock Country Club, is where, and then on the north is Summerlin. You know how Summerlin Parkway, just above Summerlin Hospital curves.
So you got Summerlin Hospital in your
Yes,
district. Okay.
Wow. And then to the south is essentially Spring Valley.
Got it.
Not so much as Spring Valley, just a little tight, but the desert in Spring Valley. That's where little.
So this seat is currently held by Assemblyman John Hambrick.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah, so he has held it for the past 12 years. And this district in its current form is made in 2010.
Got it.
And but prior to that, he was an Assembly District 2 representative. In 2010, he won unopposed.
Got it.
So, and ever since he's had it. And then Hambrick was, it was also a majority leader
Right.
for a certain time frame.
Right.
And since 2010, the demographics have changed,
Okay.
and the population has increased definitely.
Right.
So we are at a new time, new era, new needs, and new wants.
It's about balance between Republicans and Democrats in that area.
Pretty much, very close, and I would consider it mostly a three-party system too, because
Of the
number of
independents?
non-partisans are pretty high too.
Wow.
So we are looking at only about a few thousands in difference. So
Gotcha.
maybe
And you know that everybody's going to drop their mail-in ballot.
I hope so. Well, we'll see. We'll find out very soon.
Okay. And your bio.
My bio.
Tell us a little bit about you.
I was born and I grew up in India. After
How long you been in the U.S.?
about 25 years now.
Oh, wow.
Close to 25 years.
About
This
as
is
long as I've
25.
been in Nevada.
Going on 25, yeah.
And did you come straight to Nevada, or did you go to a different state?
No,
prior?
I actually came to Nevada to do my recently, relatively, but I came to United States to pursue my grad school, Ph.D. in Louisiana. I did
So
my
you're a
grad school.
doctor,
I did my PhD from LSU Medical Center in New Orleans.
medical doctor.
No, PhD.
Oh, okay, PhD.
Yeah.
Okay, that
What's your
is.
discipline?
My PhD was in virology and cancer biology, so that's why I understand what is going on with COVID a little bit.
Okay.
Wow.
And I went on to get a postdoctoral fellowship in regenerative medicine using stem cells.
Well, you sound like a smarty pants. You ever thought about running for regent? I think that's where all the smart people should go, in the region.
That's
Not saying that they shouldn't be smart all around. I'm just saying the ultimate smart people should.
so I'm going to put that docket as an question after this answer. How about that? The question that needs to be addressed is, did you think of regions? We'll get to that. Absolutely. So after that, I went off. I became a faculty at Tulane Medical Center.
Okay.
I taught medical students and postdoctoral fellows as well, and on the other side I had a research lab working on cancer and stem cell biology.
Okay.
I had a research lab funded by National Institute of Health and NIH, DoD. I was on several panels with NIH veterans groups, DoDs, and being on the science side fully.
Right.
And then over life experiences have exposed me to the gaps in life and gaps in policy making,
Okay.
which has been the trigger factor
Got
for
it.
me to start thinking about working more on the policy side. I survived Katrina. I was in New Orleans during Katrina.
So you were in St. Louis when
New Orleans.
New Orleans, sorry, when all that happened.
Yeah, during Katrina, yes. So these policy gaps, and then just going through the process of experiencing life as a new immigrant and coming to a society that is basically inequalities, equalities, and things of that nature become very obvious and open. Has gotten me thinking into being very active on the policy side.
Got it.
And over time, I've also been, for the past 15 years, I've been a very strong advocate for domestic violence and child abuse victims.
Okay.
To understand the policy more, I went to law school.
Okay.
I just graduated, actually this past Monday is when I gave my final exam, and I'm done.
Wow. Congratulations.
So thank you, yeah.
Because we need some good lawyers out there.
Yes. So that's basically where, that's my bio. Along the process, I'm someone that believes in learning all the time. So
Okay. So you're like a sponge then, huh?
I like to learn, yes. I like to learn. I believe in, I can consider myself as a lifelong learner and educator.
So you must have a library in your home.
I do.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
do.
good.
Yeah.
How about wood shop? You got wood shop in your garage?
Man, Steve, I asked you to be nice. Can you be nice? No, I don't.
Wood shop is a good thing to take your mind off of problems and make different things. You could make tables and
Hey, I
chairs.
have a soap shop.
A soap shop, see?
My garage has the soap
There you
stuff.
go.
I make soaps,
Okay.
and that's something I use too.
Yeah, I know people that make them by using the CBD products. They put them in their soaps.
Yeah, I haven't tried that, but I do have a soap shop in my garage. One of the garages is a soap shop, basically.
All right.
And then I draw and paint.
And paint.
Yeah.
Oh, you
But
do
I
you
can-
do that thing that they got out there, paint with wine, or wine and paint.
No, actually, I think I went to one of those, just one. I guess it depends on who you're hanging out with.
Yes.
But no, I generally like drawing more. But
Okay.
so
Okay.
no, only if your question is that all you do? Is just reading is what you do? No, I do other things too.
Yeah.
So wood shop would be fun. I just
Not something up your alley right now.
no, if someone else has set it up for me, I wouldn't mind trying it.
Yeah.
Because that would be a lot more learning.
Yeah. Well, Burke, you had a question earlier, right? What was it?
What brought you to Nevada?
My husband's job. So he was working for this company that brought
does he
him
do?
to Nevada.
What does
He's
he
an
have?
accountant and
okay.
finance kind of professional.
Oh, okay.
So he came here just on a trial basis, basically just to test it out and see if he likes it on a short-term gig. But then we loved Nevada. We just
Yeah. Well, I mean,
decided
what
this
is
my
not
best
to
one.
love about this state?
Exactly. I have to totally admit, because I agree with you, this is the best state to live in. That's why
Yes.
we decided. I mean, I was a tenure professor where I was, and just transferring that whole thing to Nevada was not an option. But we love the state so much that I decided, you know what, this is time to restart because we love this place.
Yeah, because I'm
So-
thinking with your resume, and your husband must have more juice than you if he's moving here because, wow, I'm amazed. I'm standing back.
I hope he's listening.
Oh,
But
Quick question.
it is Vegas. We love Nevada. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
So.
Recently, the country is in flux because it used to be right, left, you know what I mean? That used to be how everyone perceived things. It's no longer right, left. It's right and wrong now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are willing to switch aisles and switch sides for the best candidates for what they believe in. And I'm a firm believer in draining the swamp. All right? One of the agencies that we have that drain swamps here is the Nevada Discipline Commission. The Nevada Judicial Discipline Commission disciplines and straightens out judges that are kind of crazy, like off the beaten path.
So what's the question?
So the question is, are you the type of, I mean, I know that the lawyers union is more pro-left a little bit, but are you willing to consider taking and giving more funding to the Nevada Judicial Discipline Commission? Here's why. Last year, they only had enough funding to discipline one judge. And this judge is crazy alpha foxtrot. So my question is, will you be willing to even go against yourself, not yourself, because I know you care about kids. That's obvious to me just from talking to you. Are you willing to consider increasing the funding so we can clean up that swamp down there?
Increase the funding to the Judicial
Discipline Commission so we can clean up the swamp. Because it is a swamp.
Okay.
So my question to that is, I believe that it is time for everybody, the integrity aspect has to be upheld.
Yes.
And considering legal profession on its own is a self-regulatory entity, the burden is on us to make sure that we actually produce. I say we because I did recently graduate or will get my official graduation degree very soon. It is important to uphold the values of the profession. Now, to that end, if money is the limiting factor to uphold those values, I believe that needs to be addressed. Now, how much of money is being the limiting factor or how much of it is being the barrier to ensure that the basic legal tenets are not being enforced is something that needs to be looked into. It will become the overall research analysis, of course, that comes into my, it runs within my blood, is research analysis of, okay, how much money do we have, why are we not able to keep up to the laws and regulation we set for ourselves, and then determine what happens. And that's where people like you and other groups will come into play, advocates will come into play to bring in facts and numbers and then work towards it. Because the overall goal would be to develop that trust on the system. I think one of the things which you brought up is that basic lack of trust. People are losing trust in the system. People are losing trust in the government. It's become us and them. And my feeling, I come from the background and also with a strong conviction that it's not us and them, it's all of us. Only all of us come in different shapes and forms. We just have to figure out what is that we can work together on. We can't agree on everything. We probably shouldn't agree on everything. Then there won't be progress. So, but when we do find things that are specific to specific goals, I believe we can work together. And that is, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I got another question for you too.
You just filled with questions. Oh, this is a talk show.
Okay, sorry.
You know, it's all about talking, right? Yeah.
I'm an unusual person in the aspect that I am a black conservative that speaks Spanish. My dad's from Panama. He's an immigrant.
He's right. You can't find many of those.
Yeah, I'm the Uncle Tom, bootlicking, Sambo, foot shuffling, sugarcane brother, elevator operator, according to everybody. But here's the deal. I am willing to reach to any side of the aisle to solve the problems that we're having. And the reason being is because, like I said, it's not right left. It's right and wrong. It's what affects families. And you seem to have that very grounded, and I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you.
I can't say enough about you for that. Would you be willing to work with someone on the other side of the aisle that doesn't share, like, would you be able to work with a Donald Trump to help Nevada get along and to make things happen? Because the truth of the matter is, we've had people on the right that have done nothing. We've had Brian Sandoval that did nothing about the family courts. So my question is would you be able to work with someone like a Donald Trump or someone that's a conservative if they're placed into office? Being that you're on the other side of that fence.
My work principle is very focused on goal. Singularly focused. Sometimes that can hurt in the sense that I get so singularly focused. This is my goal. And if that goal involves talking to other people and bringing them on to understanding why that goal is important, I will work really hard for that. Yes. And that is why when I decided to run for office, and I was actually not decided, but exploring the possibility of running for office, I got several recommendations or suggestions that I should move to a blue district.
Mm-hmm. You should do what?
Move to a blue district,
okay.
Leaning more towards a Democrat district. Yeah. But I don't believe in that because I feel this is where I love Summerlin, I love where I live, and I'm just, I want to run based on what my principles and convictions are.
Right.
And my overall goal is just to be an advocate for regular people And then those regular people, as you said, as all of us, they come in different shapes, different forms, and everybody is unique. When you say I'm different in that, everybody is unique, and so am I, so is Steve. So I believe we need an advocate. Now, being an advocate means staying focused on the goal, which would be if someone like President Trump shows up, if that's who I have to talk to and convince that this goal is extremely important for my people or for the people I'm advocating for, I will definitely take that. So if your question is going back to, am I going to restrict myself based on party affiliations or whatever boxes you put in, the answer is no.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times parties sometimes will not get along, and the people suffer because they can't work out the problems. And I know that you're not that way, which is why I wanted to make sure I asked you that question publicly so that the public would know who
I'm
you are.
also a team player,
Yes.
but I also believe in that we have to be able to work across the aisle. We have to be able to work with people. Like, we cannot alienate. Alienating groups is not going to get us to where we want to. And sometimes that means just compromising in certain things and compromise, but not losing sight on the goal.
Do you have kids?
Yes.
Wow. Man, doing all this with a family too?
You're gonna ask her how many?
How many? And boys or girls?
We have 3 kids between my husband and I.
Okay.
And two girls and a boy.
Awesome. Wow.
Ms. Connell.
Tunnel.
Tunnel.
Like a tunnel with a K.
Like a tunnel. The
tunnel with a K.
With a K.
Okay.
K at the beginning, I was corrected yesterday. It's like a tunnel with a K at the beginning.
You made all that up? Is that kind of like your slogan for your campaign?
No, this is
It's
one
like
of my
a tunnel, but
constituents.
it's Connell.
It's like one of my voter guys helped me out. He said, you should tell people it's like a tunnel with a K at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then he actually went on one little bit further, which I don't use regularly, but he says, K also means kind.
That's right.
So it's like a kind tunnel.
Or
is
crazy
tunnel.
with a K.
Stop that.
Did you just call me crazy? No.
Not you.
Just clarify.
you
Just
better walk
making
that
it
back,
very
Tom.
clear.
I'm just trying to make light of the alphabet.
Yeah. As long as it wasn't targeted to me, we are all
No,
cool.
no,
Yeah.
you're far from crazy. But Ms. Connell, with a K, the current atmosphere is, as far as the economics are concerned, is just, I see, it's disastrous. I went down to Fremont Street last Thursday, and I've been here since 1995. Okay, I've never seen Fremont Street like that before. It was quiet, for the most part. I walk into supermarkets and I walk into restaurants. There's a lot of industries that are just totally, completely going out of business. I mean, you have the movie industry, okay? You have the Actors Guild. Those are the ones that make movies. A lot of series are canceled. It's like movies have stopped. You have the nightclub industry, and the nightclub industry comes with a lot of different other branches, like bodyguards, and the alcohol, and the gambling, and the showgirls, and DJs. 'Cause a lot of DJs used to make a really good DJ in this town made about $110,000 per night. Per night.
Sounds like a good gig.
Absolutely.
And they spent that money too,
But here's the thing.
here in town.
There are a lot of industries that are wiped out or, on the verge of being wiped out. I mean, like bars without food. A lot of the PTs and the timbers and what could you do as an assemblywoman to either bring different industries back to Nevada or try to preserve the ones that we have? What's your plan?
Wow, that's like a gazillion-dollar question now, right? My plan, I think with Nevada, definitely is an issue of diversity. We need, it's time for diversifying our revenue models.
Okay, how would you do that?
How would I do it? Of course, I'm biased, call me biased, but I am a scientist. And I believe that Nevada has a humongous potential to recruit science and technology industry.
Okay.
One starting with even biotech industry. We don't have that here. When we are like this close to California, so recruiting some of those groups here is definitely something we can work on. And healthcare industry, we have a healthcare industry, but it's not appropriately supported. We could use regrouping and reanalyzing and making it and implementing laws and policies specific to healthcare, which can have better outcome.
It's funny you say that because we had Dr. Nick Spiritos last week on the show, who's running for Regent, and he was talking about making the Nevada a healthcare industry, like how we have the gaming industry, because he says that we need another source of income, not just the tourism. We need another source of income to generate folks to come to Nevada, and he was talking about the healthcare industry and make higher learning better in Nevada as far as creating doctors and scientists and people in the health professions, and we bring Braille and neurology and neurology science and all that stuff here that we've been lacking for many years. So is that part of your plan is to make
Nevada? Yeah, there's
Nevada?
definitely a potential, and I think we are in a right place and time as well to actually think about diversifying to recruit all these other industries. Absolutely. And that goes back to the regrouping for our education pipeline to bring in support network that would support industries like that. So can we come out of this better than how we went in? I'm a strong believer, and I know we can. We'll probably come out of it better and stronger. We just need right leaders up there that can think creatively, that can look at it from an outsider perspective, also bring in issues that are more focused to people and more focused to the state. I think we can do it.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. In the last, not the last one, but the second to last legislative session, they voted on the stadium for the Raiders. The legislators did. If you had a crystal ball and you could see what we're seeing now, and if you were on that legislative session 2 sessions ago, would you have voted for the stadium?
Oh, that definitely is not a yes or no question. It's not. It is one of those, it falls into the ball game of understanding all the...
And I'd like to know why it wouldn't be a yes or no question.
Because, well, the part that would support voting for it would be that, you know how Vegas had this entire, it's grouped as a Sin City. Now bringing in ball games and bringing in regular family type events would expand that out, and it's also part of the diversification of revenue system. So there's that yes part, but then the no part would be that it is a burden. It's been a burden financially for different reasons. So, which is, we are actually seeing it, COVID or not, even if it wasn't COVID, there is a burden on the financial.
And how they plan to do social distancing at these stadiums? I like to.
That's a different, that's a question for future. We are not in future yet. We are 2 years ago, right? Or 2 sessions ago.
No, if you had a crystal ball and you could see what's going on now, and you were in session 2 sessions ago.
Right. So it is one of those, I don't know, this is such a unique thing that I feel like even experts find it difficult to come up with an answer. So was it a right decision? Hindsight's always 20/20. Maybe not, but we'll find out. I also feel like this is probably too soon to evaluate on the validity of the decision. Like any other investment, we should probably revisit this like in about 10 years and see was our investment worth it. But every time I drive past it, I love that structure there. So there it looks.
It's pretty to look at.
It's very pretty to look at.
And think about all that tax dollars it cost.
Right.
What was $150 million, I think, of tax dollars?
It
That we
has
won't
been
get back?
It has been a burden on the system, definitely. Now, like I said, it's something we need to wait and see if that has paid off or not. Now that in the current situation with COVID, I believe we've come to square one. It's time to really regroup and start thinking about investment processes and revenue models that will last longer. So it goes back to where the Katrina system. I was in New Orleans during Katrina. Mm-hmm. So when we came out of it, of course, for the first year or so, everything was very depressing. Everything was sad. I want to say, at least 5 years after Katrina, we could see the water level stains everywhere we went.
But we've recovered a lot quicker during 9/11 as far as the airline industry.
Right. Yeah. So that's not the same as Katrina.
Than this epidemic.
Right.
So you being a scientist, right? What would be your proposal with all these social distancing, and some people want to wear masks and some people don't want to wear masks, and apparently this COVID is affecting people differently. You got some people die from it. You got some people in a coma from it. You got some people down for 6 weeks, and then you got others that it doesn't affect them at all.
Right.
5 days, and they're good as new. So what do you think is going on? Do you think it's different strain? Do you think it affects people's immune system differently? Do you think because people are athletic and take care of themselves and wash themselves and take their vitamins versus people that are nasty as hell and don't wash their clothes and don't wash their hands and put their hands all in their face and sniffle all over their forearm?
People are probably healthier.
And don't even take vitamins. And while I'm on that subject, there's some homeless people that it doesn't even affect. So as being a scientist, what do you think is going on?
So with the disclaimer that I haven't worked on this virus, and I really don't know exactly what's going on, but I can give you hypotheses, like they're just conjectures and based on my experience and my knowledge.
Right.
Going back one step, every disease, no matter what it is, infections or anything at all, like I worked on cancer, right? Yeah. All of us have cancer cells. Every person that's walking has cancer cells. But not everyone gets cancer.
Kind of remind me of The Walking Dead.
Right. So, yeah,
everybody got this thing that makes them into zombies when they die, but the only way you could get it is when you are dead.
Well, yeah. No, well, not that level. Let me clarify that. Cancerous cells, potential. So all of us have cells that have a potential to form a cancer. However, not everyone gets it, and even those that get it have specific areas that it actually forms a cancer. And the factors that go into where we start with all of us having a potential cancer cell to actually getting a cancer and also dying from that cancer, then the proportions go down significantly. And that matters because that goes to your own body structure. So that is the trigger factor for starting the Moonshot program, and I started a Moonshot program several years ago. The idea is every person is unique. Every person's body mechanism and body structure is unique. So how they react to any disease is also unique. So we can't say one size fits all works for everybody. So that is when we talk about a cancer cell, which is your own cell, essentially. And when we're talking about a virus or a bacteria or any other infectious agent, which is not yours, it's a foreign object. It's coming from outside. And then they have their own little nuclear material that constantly evolves. So what happens is the permutations and combinations on how this virus works on you depends on how that virus got into you. How many receptors did you have? The same amount of infection, how many receptors you have. And then after it got in and after the virus has actually acted on your body, then your body's self-immune system works in. And then the immune system has various components to it. The active immune system and your stress levels that affect your immune system and your stage in life, where you are, your hormones. So there's so many things that add to it. So this is considering if you were to just say there was one stable virus that doesn't mutate. You have so many variables that are playing into it. And then now you have a virus that could potentially mutate constantly. And then you're amplifying the numbers. And then you add to the fact that this is a new virus. We don't know much about it. So there's so much unknown in it. So going back to what do I feel we should do, I believe in personal responsibility to the extent that it's take care of yourselves and take care of your neighbors. So by wearing a mask, washing your hands, and taking care of yourselves at least prevents infections. Which is true for every infectious
we
agent.
should have been doing that
forever.
years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the mask, washing your hands and
right. So there's a joke. I mean, it's not a joke. In reality, in growing up, my grandmother would force us to, when we went out, came back inside after playing in the afternoons, we would have to go to take a shower, change and come into the house. We cannot just walk in. We can't wear shoes into the house. We have to wash our hands. Yeah. So we had those standard things to do, or traditions, if you will.
I don't wear shoes in my house.
Yeah, I don't either. But those are the things. I think it's probably not a bad idea.
It's traditional in Canada and Japan not to wear shoes in the
house. So in India too, it is traditional not to bring shoes inside, and then you wash hands. And
and we there's some traditions you got to wash your hands before you even
get in. So we actually
walk
have
in somebody's house.
Yeah, most homes actually have a little sink-like thing just right by the front door or the main entrances. And then you would wash your feet and hands before you walk into the house.
So it's true what they say, cleanliness is the next best thing to godliness, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it is important, and we really don't know what's going on with COVID because it is a new virus. Right. So for scientists to understand everything they have and how many times it can, to give you an example, with HIV, it took 10, 12 years to even understand the entire pathogenesis, and we are still learning. And then same with the Spanish flu, it took so many years to get to a stage.
Swine flu.
Yeah, so it will take some time. But it also goes back to my one of the platforms I'm running on is it is time to be proactive. Anticipate that these things could happen because we've lived through several of them. Yeah. Now that we've lived through several of them, we should start planning for it and being a little bit more proactive on preventing it. We may not be able to prevent everything, but at least some of those, and be prepared for it, more prepared for it.
I want to go back to education a little bit, and I remember, I believe it was 4 sessions ago, and we go up to Carson City every session. The only session we did not go to was this year. Was it this year or was it last year? It was last year's session. That's the only one. Other than that, we were up at all of them, and I remembered when they were putting out on the ballot about legalizing marijuana for recreational use. The argument behind that was to support education and give teachers from K through 12 a higher pay raise. And once that got approved, and they were charging a massive amount of money for license, and if you owned a gaming license, you can't have a marijuana license. And the license were, I believe they were in the total of $250,000 to get a license for marijuana. And you have to have a building and da-da-da-da. So people were paying all this money willfully. Okay. Where's this money for teachers? Why are we still talking about teachers' pay? Why are we still talking about where are we going to get the money to pay teachers for? I thought that problem was resolved. As an assemblywoman, if and when you do win, are you going to inquire about this money that they said they put in a rainy day fund, which it hardly ever rains in southern Nevada? Are you going to inquire where is this money that they originally said that if the marijuana bill passed for recreational, this money would be for teachers' salaries? Where's that money? Are you going to inquire about that? Or are you going to maybe get some type of investigation going and find out what they did with this money?
Well, I'll start it right now. Where do you think the money went?
I think the money went into the doggone stadium. That's why I brought the stadium up, because I honestly think that they used this money that they were supposed to increase teachers' salary. They used the money for the stadium, and they probably wanted to do that all along. I think they misled the vote in public from the very beginning. I don't think that they just all of a sudden drummed up, oh, let's use the money for the stadium. I think that they had this already planned, but yet they tell the public, hey, you pass the recreational marijuana, we're going to increase teacher pay. I think that it was all along planned. I'm sure they wasn't going to come out and say, hey, if you pass this recreational marijuana, we're going to build a stadium. I don't think nobody will be on board with that. So I think that they used the money that they were going to increase teachers' pay, they use it for the stadium, is what I'm thinking. Because why would they come back and say, hey, we need money for teachers' pay? I thought we resolved that issue with the recreational marijuana. You know, so as a legislator, are you going to inquire about that and look into it and find out where this money went to? And
one of the topics that's of interest to me is how laws are made, but we actually don't have a way to determine if those laws are effective. So this falls into that group, is that we've passed a bill and we've directed funds to go somewhere. What happened to that also falls into that group. I believe every state, to increase fiscal efficiency, it is important to see where our monies are, where they are assigned appropriately or not. This is like our budget at home, right? You say $100 for groceries. You want to know if those $100 went to groceries or not. So absolutely, what does it take to inquire about it? I don't know, but it's something I will learn, I'm sure. And someone like you will teach me how to do it. I'll go do it. I'm a learner, but I think it is important. One of the ways to increase revenues is also making sure that there are no sinkholes for funds and appropriate, basically a level of understanding and also regulation. Is that okay? Yeah. Just following up where the funds are and things of that nature. Accountability, essentially, is important.
Would you consider yourself to be fiscally conservative?
You know, one of the things I have a problem with is when people try to define boxes.
Okay.
So I know fiscally conservative or not conservative would be based on who defines it. I believe that there is...
I've seen this exact same problem before. But because I'm older, I saw this maybe 30 years ago, maybe even more. With the lottery in California, they said, it's for our children, it's for our schools. My mom is an English teacher. Thank God for my mom. She used to buy pencils and books. And
I have a few friends that do that right now. They are teachers here, and I found myself helping them out too. It's like,
they really
which
love
is sad.
these
It shouldn't be that way. And I am an educator. I was a professor. Granted, it's not little kids, but it's still the same. The concept in the sense that I value the role of a teacher and a professor or an educator. I believe they actually shape people. Yeah. And of course, coming from India, where teachers are considered gods, I have that teachers here should deserve a lot more than what they are, where they are. So I
thought the cows were the gods in India.
cows are also revered.
Revered, yes.
Yes.
And why is that, by the way? How come they're so held to a higher, I don't know if it was higher, but how?
Revered.
Yeah, why is that? I always wanted to know why.
Well, we can take it offline. That's also not on the ballot, but we're absolutely happy to, we'll be happy to discuss that with you and why and what. But
Okay.
I guess most of it in a simple one sentence response would be that traditions and cultures and beliefs play into it. And we all know how strong beliefs are. Everyone, all of us live
Yeah.
on that belief system, whatever that might be. We have our own belief systems, and that is that, I suppose. And I believe that as a human, it is our responsibility, and also we should be in a position to accept and admire everybody's belief system and work together, which we can. So.
For the common good.
For the common good, absolutely.
So what are your plans if and when you do become an assemblywoman? What are your plans? I mean, I know you guys carry.
Start changing that and saying when you become an assemblywoman.
Okay, when you
put it out in the universe.
when you become assemblywoman, Ms. Connell, I know you're going to carry 5 bills. Okay, as a brand new freshman assembly, what 5 bills would you consider carrying for bill draft request?
So those are things evolving right now. At the moment, of course, education is taking the top priority. As far as the specific bills.
And when you say education, specifically,
the
how?
elementary and finding ways to get the school system well funded, and at least the school students are well taken care of, kind of situation.
Well, as far as Clark County is concerned, they had 67,000 kids that they had no idea where they are.
That is sad. That is sad. It's not anything to laugh about, but it is sad. It is very difficult to deal with. You know, I know my kids are not in that system, but still, it is difficult to even hear and understand that we don't know where they don't have track of that, which is difficult. So, but then I know on the other side, of course, you go to the administration, they would say that it's not enough money to keep on top of that. So that comes to the system and how we put in checks and balances in place.
So what 5 bills?
So to be, at this point, I'm still working on this.
Okay.
But I can only give you the general fields I'm thinking about, but I am looking to advocates and people and groups that have their feet on the ground and are working on things that are extremely needed for the community around my neighborhood and also for the state.
So would you consider our group as part of those people you would reach out to and try to get feedback as to what they see the state needs in different avenues, maybe?
Absolutely. I would reach out to, which I've been reaching out to every group.
Okay.
I believe
Because I
that
could give you 10 bills just top of my head without even thinking about them.
I would totally consider those and look into it, have a discussion, and we will then prioritize and work. And again, it should be singular focused, and it should be focused on what do we need right now and what do we work on. And absolutely, I will be not only open to the conversation, but also an approach that would be beneficial for everyone. Like they say, I'm not an expert at everybody, so I will be reaching out to all the groups and whoever brings their opinions and thoughts to me. I definitely will be willing to chat, talk, and then prioritize.
Do you have anything else you'd like to put out there so people could have a better idea who you are and where you're going as far as being Assemblywoman for 2?
So one of the questions I get asked quite a lot is, why are you running? Especially people that know my background and my resume. Okay. Their question is, like that even yesterday someone asked me, you could be making a lot more money working as...
You are a professor.
Right, working as, well, not anymore, I was.
You're still a professor. Once a professor, always
That
a
is
professor.
true, that is true. The question comes back to my only interest in this is public service. It is time for someone to be standing up there and advocating purely for public.
Right.
And on the day that doesn't happen, I will be happy to quit and go back to what I could do otherwise. So to that end, I also believe that public servants doesn't mean that what I want done. It is what all of us want done, and I'm just there to advocate for you.
Okay.
And that is my philosophy. I'm running on that philosophy, is that it is for all of us. I appreciate and understand who else was better to understand the situation that diversity and all the other things matter. So I understand that all of us are not made as the same shape and shape forms, but we all, as long as we focus on our goal, our common good, we can all work together. So I'm here, I'm open to listening, I'm open to talking, I'm open to getting a different opinions, and I'm also of the background that I am not an expert in anything, so I will look for advocates to bring their issues.
Well, you're an expert in higher learning. Hey, doctor.
I know some people from India, good friends of mine. And trust and believe me when I say this, people like Steve are part of the 1% of the 1% that have served this country in a dangerous situation. I bleed red, white, and blue. I'm telling you right now, the only difference between us and Mexico is the rule of law, the Constitution. You can go to Russia, never be Russian, England, never be English, China, never be Chinese, Mexico, never be Mexican. But you can come here because you support the idea of freedom, you can become an American. However, me being who I am and how much I love this country, and would pledge my life for this country and have, there's some things about India that I find are very unique. I'll just say that. The most peaceful country on planet Earth. Never in the history of the country have they ever attacked somebody else. They've always been attacked and defended themselves. Everyone always gets these people mixed up with Pakistan. Pakistan is their enemy just like they're our enemy. Another thing is they invented the game of chess. Everyone thinks, oh, that's a British game. No, it's not. It was invented in India.
Right.
My question to you is this. You being from India and then coming here, what are your advantages that make you a better person than just the average person that's running or the person that's out there now? What are the things between the two cultures together that make you better than everybody else? And I know they're there.
Many. One is India has different religions, different languages, different states, and so there's so much diversity, but we grow up accepting it. So the diversity aspect doesn't come naturally. We were all like, okay, everybody is different. So that, I believe, is the foundation of my philosophy of we can find good in every person. To go beyond those boxes, go beyond the labels. Go to the person. Each individual person is unique. That's one, and the cultural aspect. And in the philosophical aspect of it is we believe that every person has a God in them. That is the idea of namaste. Namaste means the God in me is bowing to the God in you. So everybody is important, and we have to work together. So that, I believe, and I know, is going to be extremely helpful in making me move forward and go beyond the superficial things of which would come with egos, which would come with alignments, which would come with everything else. And it has helped me in my life so far. And I am very positive that that will carry me forward as well. So that definitely is one. And then there is all the other aspects of how I came here with ambitions and aspirations, and how America has provided that to me. And so there's the level of gratitude that it's time for me to give back. I've had these advantages, which most people that I walk around don't seem to have the same. So I know the differences. So that actually will add to my understanding of the gaps that we can work on filling in and working together towards it. And as they say, when you adopt something, you have more love to it than the ones that you give birth. So this is my adopted country. So I have that inherent appreciation for wanting to work at it.
I understand what you're saying, because I feel the same way, because I came from Jamaica, and I feel like a lot of people that are in this country, that was born in this country, are entitled jackasses that don't know how to serve the flag, that believe men and women die in combat so they could give them the right to burn that flag, and don't understand those men and women die in combat because they want to preserve the flag. They want to treat it as what it is, our nation's symbol, and we should respect it, not burn it. But I don't know. I noticed that a lot of people that was born abroad and came to this country and become naturalized citizens have more respect for this country than the ones that was actually born in this country. Because
I can definitely speak for myself.
Because they're
that
entitled, a lot of them. And I didn't see that until I exited the Marine Corps. By the way, Burke Hall, thank you for your service in the Army.
So the
And
other way
thank you
around.
for both of your service. I just wanted to.
I really didn't see that until I got out the Marine Corps, because I was around Marines all the time, so you don't really see it until when you get out. Then you're more around the civilian because you're now one of them, and that's what I've noticed, that a lot of people in this country that was born here are just entitled, think that they're supposed to get it and not work for it. The government's supposed to provide, and they're not supposed to go out and go get it. So that's what I've seen.
One of the things I know it's very close to your heart is the veterans issues are also right up on top. Tulane is right next to VA hospital in New Orleans, and I saw the difference. And that didn't make any sense to me. Back then, this is like 10, 15 years ago. I won't date myself, but yeah, it's been a while. But
So
now,
what are your plans for veterans being an assemblywoman?
Oh, did I walk myself into
Yeah, you
that?
sure opened up that door.
I totally walked into it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
fine.
kind of was checking the lock on it and found it was open, and I just allowed you to push it.
Veterans are not, mental health issues are very close to my heart. I believe that we need stronger and more assertive advocacy for that, which includes for veterans, really specific to veterans, I believe we need a community support that needs to start growing, which, most of us understand is that mental health issues and community support go hand in glove.
Right.
Not having one makes it more sensitive to the other. So I believe those things should factor in, and we shouldn't be in a position where homelessness is directly associated with veterans, and that just breaks my heart.
Sometimes that homelessness is a choice.
It is.
Either way,
but
even if it is a choice, it's just, I think if we have a stronger system, then it becomes easier to delineate if that was 100% their choice.
I mean, the symbol of the
And
flag
we
of
are
our
not
state
there.
is for those who have borne the battle.
Right.
Battle born. And people like you, Steve, you bore the battle. You weren't even a freaking citizen and came here and borne the battle.
Thank you for
And as a Marine, my God, Steve, we can't say enough about you.
Oh, thank you, Bert.
Straight truth.
I bring this guy on just to
No.
make my head big.
No, you don't.
Well, I'm sure he's honest and he's truthful, and I do know for one thing I know about you. You are a fighter, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Connell. Could you look into the camera and tell folks why they should get their mail-in ballot, and if they live in District 2, to blacken in the little circle next to your name and put it in the secured sleeve envelope and put it in the actual envelope that says U.S. postage on there, and sign the back of the envelope and seal the envelope and print their name and put it in the actual mailbox? Why they should do that for you and your point of contact.
Thank you for bringing that up, Steve. I appreciate that. And as of now, we don't know for sure if it's going to be all mail-in or not, but I would totally encourage everybody to go ask for a mail-in ballot. If it becomes a all mail-in election, then please consider mailing it in. It's pretty safe. And why should you vote for me? It is time for a change. It is time for a scientist to be representing all of us. And I bring in both experience, skill set, and more importantly, the passion for public service. I'm here to represent us, you, me, and all of us. And the only reason I'm running for this office is to bring in my skill set and my experience and your needs and necessities to bring that to Carson City and make Nevada a little bit better place than where we found it yesterday or day before. And I believe together we can do it. And now why Assembly District 2 constituents should vote for me. That's Kunnel, RPK Kunnel, like a tunnel with a K. Among other reasons, number one is I will fight for you and my allegiances will be with you. One way to look at it, as you guys probably know, is reviewing the CNEs of the candidates, and that can tell you who is supporting where we are. I am running a very grassroots level campaign. My phone number is 702-570-2900. That's my cell phone. It's going to come right to my cell phone. I encourage everybody to talk to me and see if there's something, if my policies will align with yours. I will have an open heart, open mind, and open door system to the constituents and all of us, all Nevadans, to make sure that we are working together to make this place a little bit better. One person and one issue and one district at a time.
Well, Ms. Kunnel, we'd like to thank you for coming on the program. Folks, that's Radhika Kunnel. She's a candidate running for Nevada's Assembly District number 2. And just for full disclosure, the Veterans in Politics have no candidate for District number 2. We did supported Jim Smalls, who lost his primary. But me just saying that, I just want to say that the Veterans in Politics have no candidate for the general election. But we really need to go across the aisle and reach across the aisle and get the best person that could do the job. We've been going for decades and just getting popularity, people with good names or friends that you know, and we're just not coming out of the box and putting a candidate in office that actually has conviction and compassion and really wants to do the job, really wants to do what's best for our state, not best for their party, not best for themselves, but what's best for our state as a whole. And that's the mindset we need to start looking at. We need to start putting people in office that's going to do what's best for the entire state of Nevada. Democrat, Republicans, Independent Americans, Libertarians, Independent, or people that just don't want to claim any party at all. Because this state, I love this state, and we just got to do what's right for this state. So go out and vote with your heart. Don't vote for a party. Vote for what you believe a candidate is best going to bring to the state of Nevada and represent you and your family. And that's how you need to vote. Because these voting is not for a popularity contest. And I wish people would just stop doing that. And that's all I have to say. This is...
One more thing. I want to personally thank you for coming on. There's so many...
Cut me off.
Sorry, I'm sorry. There's so many people that are cowardly and will not come on this show sometimes. And that just sends me into orbit and really ticks me off. Because if you are really who you are, you'll be transparent and come on the show. And just for coming, that says a lot about you, even more so.
Thank you. I appreciate
the other way
that.
around.
It goes back to, well, I think we cannot work by alienating groups. We have to come together.
Absolutely.
And then on the ballot, I will be in the center. This is a 3-person ballot, so please bubble the center bubble. Kunnel RPK. Thank
Folks,
you.
again, that's Radhika Kunnel, candidate for Assembly District Number 2. This is Steve Sampson Burkehall, Veterans in Politics. Until next time.